What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. Now, I talked to my guest a little while ago, and she should be here soon. Um, but I wanted to come on at normal time. Now, I want to make this where everybody can comment on it. So it's going to take me just a second. Um, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. But my name is Jeff Marconette Jr. I'm your international award winning Make Every Second Count speaker. And I like to help people get from where they are and what they're dealing with to the other side so they can live a best life type of situation. Now, I know that sounds like that's going to be hard, but it's really not if you just check out some things I have to tell you and Uh, Christine is here, but guys, I ask you if you would please share this video out. Just go ahead and tag 3 of your friends in the comments. I appreciate that very much. But tonight is going to be awesome. We know that things can get hard, but just know that you need to keep going. So I would like to bring my friend Christine to the stage. Hello, Christine. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. I'm good. I don't know why my stuff's not working. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, actually, I can hear you just fine. You can go. You see at the bottom of the screen, it says
hmm
settings,
I do.
and
Okay, there we go.
and then you can go to camera and select which camera you're using. There, I see you now.
Okay, there we go. Let me see if I can
Looking
fix my audio really
fantastic.
quick. Okay.
Looking fantastic, Christine.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, you're quite
Let's see.
welcome.
I'm having problems with my. Okay, this hopefully will work. Can you hear me okay still?
Yes, I certainly can.
Okay. I don't know why. All right, we're good. Sorry, I don't know why I can't hear you through my earpiece, but that's okay. I can hear you through my other stuff. How are you doing today, Jeff?
Oh, I am fantastic.
Glad to hear it.
I definitely have nothing to complain about. Life is fantastic and it is great and everything that way. I'm looking for there used to be a setting on Facebook that said who can comment on this, and I don't see it now.
Facebook's always changing things.
Facebook is weird. I
I
love
agree.
Facebook, but it's weird.
It's true. It is. It is weird.
Yeah. So, um, but we will go ahead and just get started here.
Sounds
So,
good. I'm trying to find where it's going to work on the camera where I sit. It's opposite of everything.
yeah, I know that's difficult too. It has to be difficult. I don't understand why it has to be like that, but whatever.
Right.
Yep. So, if you would like to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about you. So, I'm curious. where you're from, what you do, more importantly, why you do what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. My name's Christine Lavulo. I'm a certified professional success coach, a certified Canfield Success Principles trainer, and a member of the John Maxwell team. I am coming to you live from North Salt Lake City, Utah. And I am a speaker, author, coach, and trainer. And I got into this field mainly. I think honestly that I kind of was always drawn to anything that allowed me to be a public speaker. That was always kind of in my wheelhouse, but I sort of had set it aside in my life. You know, got pregnant really young in high school, and life comes at you, and you sort of put your dreams on hold. And then I had an experience about 10 years ago that really led me on this path of showing me some stuff. Like it kind of led me to the success principles, which sort of took me on this journey of realizing that I wanted to help other people be empowered and change their relationships and change their life through learning some basic principles that kind of change our paradigms and the way we look at things. So that kind of put me in this path of really helping people through speaking and coaching and training and in the books that I write.
That is fantastic. So, how or what exactly is it that got you into wanting to be a trainer or a speaker or a coach or however you want to call yourself?
Absolutely. So a little bit about the journey that led me specifically here. I mean, it was something I was always interested in, but like I said, kind of put all my stuff on hold as life came at me. And then about 12 years ago, my marriage was just kind of crumbling. And I made the decision to leave my husband. And shortly after I moved out of our house, I realized what a bad decision that was. I realized that wasn't the answer to my problems. And my husband had decided that it was the answer to his and did not want to get back together. He did not want to reconcile. And I knew
Excellent.
pretty strongly that this was necessary for me to reconcile, not just for me and my husband, but for our boys. We have 5 sons. And so I sort of went on a journey of self discovery, trying to figure out how I could get my husband back, how I could get him to want to come back, and how I could even help him become the man that I fell in love with and married, because he didn't seem like that person when I moved out, right? When I decided to separate. And in that, I kind of discovered that I had changed. A lot of it was kind of coming back to me and what I needed to shift in my life to get back the man that I fell in love with. Because I wasn't the woman he fell in love with. And I had become kind of arrogant and prideful, maybe to say so, and caught up in my own stuff and not really caring as much about him. But I was completely blind to it in during the time. And so as I went through this process of learning these principles that really helped change my marriage and shift everything, I came to discover that these principles could really help shift a lot of things in our lives, not just our marriages, but all of our relationships. And also it could really help us in our careers. And I just felt really strongly that that was a message I needed to share and help other people come to terms with so that they can reconcile some of the challenges in their own life and maybe have a little easier path. So, I mean, relationships are definitely my high priority.
Yes, that's really a great thing in life that people need because everything is relationship based.
So
Even if
true.
you're not with a significant other that you need to fix your relationship with, the, you have to understand that everything is relationships.
Exactly.
So even at work or even in your personal life with friends and family, it's all about relationships and how you hold on to those. So
Mhm.
I so did you and your husband ever get back together?
We did. We did. We were separated for about a year, a little more than a year. And that was, we had separated shortly after our 12-year anniversary. We'll be celebrating 25 years in February. So very exciting.
Congratulations.
And, thinking of relationships, I think the biggest thing I learned was the relationship with myself and how much that needed to be fostered. I think sometimes we forget to connect with our own self and that we have a relationship with ourselves as well. And so I think that was an important thing I learned, was kind of that my number one relationship had to be with myself and with God. And as I fostered that relationship, it made the other relationships a lot easier to mold and to, um, have more prosperous relationships. So
Yeah. Well, I think that it's Jim Rohn that says that if we want things to change, then we have to change. If we want things
yes,
to get better, we have to get better. So
absolutely.
how did you look inside yourself in order to fix yourself?
Now, that's a really good question, Jeff. And I think looking at ourselves is one of the hardest things of all. It's really easy to stay in a place of blaming other people and complaining about what's wrong, and kind of staying in a victim mentality. So, one of the first things that happened for me was I went to a really amazing workshop at the time. It was called "A Way to a Man's Heart, A Way to a Woman's Heart" by John Canan out here in Utah. And it sort of started changing my paradigm of what men are looking for and how men process information different than women. And then from there, that led me to a weekend retreat of his that started showing me that I was the problem. I mean, not that saying everybody is the problem in their relationship, but we are the common denominator, you know? Every relationship that I have, I'm the common denominator of. And if there's a problem, I have the opportunity and even the power to look at myself and see how I can change that. So it sort of woke me up to showing me that, um, I had that power. I had that power to kind of make some shifts and changes in my own life, to sort of change some of my relationships with myself, with God, and ultimately led me to changing that relationship with my husband back to something really joyful. So that was kind of what set me on that path and helped me to learn. And then I went to a Jack Canfield training in 2018, and that really is where it took off for me. Going to that training and realizing this is exactly the principles I used to help my marriage and to get back on track kind of gave me that platform and those basic principles. And first, of taking 100% responsibility and learning that, kind of that same principle, that I have to look at myself and what my role was in this relationship and in all my relationships, of what have I created? How have my responses created what I'm experiencing now? I don't like what I'm experiencing. How can I change my responses to experience what I want to experience more so, if that
Yeah.
makes sense?
Yeah, that's so true, and there are a lot of people out there, including myself before, I'm sure, that didn't take responsibility for the way things were going and didn't see themselves as the problem in a certain situation. But isn't it weird that when you're around the same person all the time and you guys don't seem to get along, and then all of a sudden you go to somebody else and you guys don't seem to get along, and you go to somebody else and you guys don't seem to get along.
Right?
What you gotta find, Lucy says here in the comments that I am
The
the
common
common
denominator.
denominator. So we thank you so much, Lucy. I hope you're having a great night, and it's good to hear from you. She is from Africa. And
Wow.
then we also have Ben Bruce, who's watching with us, and he is from Nigeria.
Wow. It's good to see everybody from Africa. That's really cool.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of fans from Africa because, if you can see that poster, I was actually in Nairobi, Kenya, in
Wow.
November of 2021. So I've gotten to know a lot of people over there, and they are fantastic, a lovely, a gracious people that it's fantastic to be there, and I know I'm saying fantastic a lot, but they're just fantastic, man.
Well, Jeff, you're fantastic, and I'm definitely a fan of yours as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So let me ask you, you were talking a little bit about Jack Canfield's
Mhm.
principles. Now, I don't want to rip off his work, and I don't want to take anything away from anyone else's work. But is there a few that you can go over with us and tell us how we could possibly use them in our life?
Absolutely. I would love to share those. And as a certified success principles trainer, that's what I do. I teach those principles. As I mentioned, the principle number one, taking 100% responsibility for your life is my favorite, and it's kind of a foundation, in my opinion, to take a moment to look at how you've created what you're experiencing. And he gives a formula called E plus R equals O. So the E stands for the event or whatever it is that you're experiencing. The R stands for response, and the O stands for outcome. So when you're experiencing life in a way and something happens, maybe somebody talked bad about you, or you're having a fight with your spouse, having a conflict with a coworker at work, whatever it is, we can look at our way we're responding to these things that are happening in our lives, and then we see what outcome we're getting. And so if we want to change the outcome that we're getting, we have to reverse engineer. We have to change how we're responding to things. So for me in my marriage, I had to realize that I was responding to my husband in a really negative way. I was telling him everything he was doing wrong, everything I didn't like about him, everything I wasn't happy with. And as I changed my responses to let the little things go and start focusing on what he was doing right, what I liked, telling him, hey, I love that you did that for me today, or I really appreciated you saying that. Then I started getting more of what I wanted, and I started getting the outcomes that I desired. And so it's kind of using that formula to reverse engineer those things. Another principle, excuse me, another principle I love of Jack Canfield's is to find out why you're here and really knowing what is your purpose in life, what is your higher calling, so to speak. And I think that was one of the big things that led me on this path, is recognizing this was a message I wanted to get out. This was something I wanted to share. I really wanted to change people's lives and help them have more fulfillment and more joy, and most of all, keep marriages together that maybe could be kept together. Um, So finding out why you're here and understanding your higher purpose is another big principle I think is important. And Jack uses a really great meditation, but a lot of times it's about, where are your passions? What are you good at? What are you passionate about? What is something people always tell you about yourself? Like, some people are really great at getting people to come to them for advice, like, oh, you always have the best advice. Well, maybe that's a place where you can look at how you can utilize that and combine it with passions. If you're great with kids and good with advice, should you be a teacher, or should you go into counseling? Should you go into therapy? There's a lot of different things that our life kind of leads us to. But the faster we can determine why we're here and what our higher purpose is, I think the faster we get on a path that really is fulfilling. Another great one that I think is so important, especially in relationships, is ask for what you want. And I can't remember which success principle this is, but oftentimes we never, and I think women especially, we want our men to be mind readers. We don't ask for what we want. We don't tell people what we need. And that can go in any scenario, but relationships especially, you know, um, nobody's a mind reader. As much as we wish we were, and we wish other people were, nobody has that capability. And so to be clear about it, to be saying, hey, I really need you to take the trash out, rather than keep looking at the trash can that's overflowing, being irritated about it, as an example. And in business, how often do we wish our boss would recognize us and give us a raise, or a promotion, but we never ask for it? Maybe they're not aware that we're interested in moving up, or interested in elevating. So I think a lot of times we get caught up in not ever saying anything or asking for any of that. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink of water here.
That's fine. Take your time. But I love that. So we have to just ask for what we want sometimes. It seems so
Logical.
simple, and that it should just be something that we automatically think of.
Hmm.
But why is it that you think that we don't do that?
Fear.
Fear?
I think fear of that rejection, fear of saying, if I ask for what I want and that person doesn't deliberate, that they're rejecting me. And this is something really cool that we learned. We did a really cool program. I went and did a week long training with Jack Canfield, and we had to think of something we really wanted badly. And then we had to go around the room and ask everybody for what we wanted. And we also had the same instruction that as people asked us, we could only say yes every 10 times. So we had to say no 9 times before we could say yes 10 times. And you started to realize it's not personal. They just can't say yes. And I think you start to learn that when you ask for what you want, if the person can't give that to you, it's not because they don't care enough about you to give it. It's because they can't give it. And so it's just having those open conversations with people, but you don't lose anything by asking, other than maybe a little bit of her ego, that
Yeah.
you put yourself out there and made yourself transparent and didn't get what you wanted. But ultimately, as you recognize it's not against you, but for them, or just something they're not capable of giving you, then it kind of changes everything. But what I've come to find is that most of the time when we're willing to ask for what we want, we actually get it, especially in our relationships.
Yeah.
Um, and you really have nothing to lose, but you have a lot to gain from asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So ask for what you want. I believe it is Les Brown that says that we should um ask for help and continue to ask for help and don't stop until we get that help.
Exactly.
And I think that is one of those things too, that people need to reach out to somebody and they need to say, "Hey, can I have this? Can I do this? Can
Right.
I will you help me with this? Can I borrow?" But they don't because of fear.
Mhm.
So what is it? Is it the fact that our brains are trying to keep us safe that causes that fear, or what causes the fear of rejection?
I do think a lot of it is that safety mechanism in our brain, of feeling why we think rejection is scary. I don't know. You know what I mean? Our emotions, I guess, are a little bit fragile. Um, but I think a lot of it's conditioning. I think we've been conditioned from very young ages to believe that no is a bad thing, right? You reach out to touch the stove and it's no. And so it's almost like hearing no is triggering, maybe, or um I think that also we just kind of get stuck in this thing that, I guess the way I could best say it is that we put too much emphasis on what other people's responses are. We give people too much power over how we feel, instead of having enough control over, hey, I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm doing. I feel good enough about it that nothing can sway that. So our fear really, in my opinion, comes from a lack of self-esteem, or self-worth. We lack a little bit of trust in ourselves and belief in ourselves. So we reach out to people and ask for things because we're hoping to get validated in some way. So if they say no, or I can't help you, or they reject us, we take that as a very personal statement that we're not good enough. And I think that's really where the fear comes from, is this idea that maybe I'm not good enough. People won't do what I ask them to do. If people won't conform to my ideas, or to what I think, or to what I want. I think that's really the basis of fear, is that of we put too much power in the hands of other people to determine our worth.
Yeah, that's just rocked my world right there.
Thank you,
So
Jeff.
so is there a way for us to better believe in ourselves or develop that belief in ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of those is to find out why you're here, to really understand what your purpose is, what your higher calling is in life. Another thing that has worked miracles in not just my life, but a lot of people I know, is by doing daily affirmations. It's kind of
I
cliche,
do.
you right?
Yeah.
But tell me it doesn't elevate your self-esteem,
Yeah.
right? You have so much more of a sense of who you are, and you start out maybe struggling with some of the things that you're trying to affirm, But after you do it consistently, you start to realize, hey, that's me. I am that powerful person. I am that masterful person. Like, I am smart. I am enough. I am worthy. Whatever your affirmation is, as we say those things daily, we start to believe in who we really are. And I think that's the key, is that, by nature, we're all amazing, incredible human beings. I mean, excuse me for
Thank
my
you.
coughing. It's
I'm
dry air here in
amazing and
Utah,
incredible. Thank you.
right? So as we kind of get back to the core of who we are, before anybody told us different. When you're born, you don't have any false beliefs about yourself. It's over time. It's over time of being rejected or having somebody tell you something negative. Gosh, this air is really dry. I think people are negative towards other people because of their own sense of insecurity. So I always talk about the mirror, and like when you're a kid, I'm rubber, you're glue. What you say bounces off me and sticks to you, right?
Yeah,
We
and
said that as
people
kids,
say
but
it's
it's
not
true.
true, but it is.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, everything people do is really a projection. They're mirroring what they feel about themselves and pushing it back onto you. So I'm a firm believer in that. So now when something rubs me or irritates me, first thing I do is say, okay, how might I be mirroring this to them? How might this be bothering me to show me something that needs to be healed in me still, and something I need to change about myself? And if I can't find anything else, I just realize it's their issue. I don't take it on myself anymore. If somebody doesn't want to be my friend, that's their issue. I can look and see how I can be a better person or what I can change or do different. But if somebody doesn't want to hang out with me, that's on them. I know I'm fun. I know I'm cool. If they don't want to hang out with me, oh well, I'll go find somebody
That's
who does.
debatable.
Hey.
I'm just kidding with you. But I thank you so much for coming on here and sharing a little bit of your journey and sharing a little bit about how you got past those things. But
Hmm.
I have to ask now, you said you'd written books.
Yeah,
What are the books? Can you tell us a little bit about them, and then
absolutely.
can you tell people how they can purchase those books?
Absolutely. So my three books that are currently published are anthologies. With Kate Butler Books. She's an amazing publisher and also an author. And the first book is Women Who Empower. And it's an anthology of just stories of women who talk about how they've empowered themselves and others. And I talk a little bit about being empowered to forgive through my journey with my husband and our separation and reconciliation. Then I'm a author on Women Who Shine, talking about finding your purpose, finding out what makes you unique and special, and really going after those things that can help you shine your light brighter in the world. And then also an author on Faces of Mental Illness. Um, and that's a little bit of a story about my journey in my own mental health journey and the struggles I had as a teenager with depression and even as an adult, and then having children. I have a son that's bipolar. Actually, I have a couple sons who are bipolar, or who have bipolar. Sorry, they're not bipolar, they have bipolar. And so kind of talking a little bit about that, and that book's really about breaking those stigmas around mental health and realizing that just because people have mental illnesses doesn't mean there's something wrong with them or that they're not functional. There's a lot of stereotypes around mental health, and we want to kind of break those stigmas. So those currently are published, and they're available on Amazon. And then I'm in the process of getting a book published called Fighting for Your Marriage: From the Brink of Divorce to Divine Restoration of Love. And so I don't know when that's going to be out, but you could be looking for that hopefully on Amazon in 2023. But then on to the next project, right?
Yeah. So, do you have any contact information you would like to give out?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for asking that, Jeff. So, again, Christine Lavulo, you can find me on Facebook. Christine Lavulo Coaching is my business page, or it might just be Christine Lavulo because Christine Lavulo Coaching got hacked. So, Christine Lavulo, look for my business page as a speaker and author. And then on Instagram, I'm at
Oh no. I think we froze. Wow.
We might be having problems. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You're back.
Sorry. I,
Hey, technology is not perfect as much as we want to wish it was.
yeah. So if you would like to go through that
Sure.
again, I'm
No
sorry.
problem. No problem at all. So I was saying that I have a page on Facebook, Christine Lavulo, and you can see my name spelled here, but LAV is in Victor, ULO. And then I have,
Victory.
if you're wondering, that is a Tongan last name. My husband is from the friendly island of Tonga. And then I have my website, which is christinelavulo.com, and on Instagram at Christine Lavulo Coaching.
All right, that's awesome.
I would love to
And
connect.
I just want to tell you thank you for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my viewers.
My
And
pleasure.
I have to say that everybody out there, including you, Christine, need to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life.
Okay.
You need to make every second count. Why?
Absolutely.
Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. Hey, I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, see you later.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Chrissy.